want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Oh yeah, that's got a beat to it. I like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys, is yeah. You can't handle the truth. I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You
telling you,
good man, Colonel Jessup. That's kind of profound, man.
Yeah, he called the code red.
You know a thought I just stumbled on?
What's that? What's your thought, man? So evidently we're having Christmas Wi-Fi issues because we got in and out.
What are you doing, man?
Well, as soon as we get you back and clear, we're talking about the self-canceling of men
man
in the world today.
Was that me or was that you?
I think it was you, man. It's usually you. Yeah, we got issues on your connectivity side.
I don't know, man. This is great, man. Yeah, this is that's because this is somebody's breakthrough night, man.
Yeah, they're trying to keep us off the air. Won't happen though. So anyway, y'all, I know it's Christmas week.
Am I locked up or you locked up or we locked?
You're locked up. Everybody can hear me and see me. It's sad though. We want to see your smiling face.
Word. Hey, if you're out there watching this, hey, first of all, if this is going through, I am Kirk.
And I am still Jason B. Kendrick. And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity. Just real men having real conversations for you. When Kirk comes back, we'll continue this conversation. I don't know, man. It's looking pretty buggy on your side.
Dude, we are trying to have real conversations, man, but I don't know what is going on. I don't know if man, this is cray, man. This is not cool at all.
What? It sounds like it's clearing up a little bit. You got a whole sentence out that time.
All right, man. Well, I guess that's a good thing then. I'm gonna How you doing, JBK?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. I'm wishing everybody else would get off the internet so we could use it. How you doing today, sir?
Man, I think I'm okay, man. Best we can tonight, man. There's some, gremlins happening, some technical widgets happening out there, man. We just gonna do the best we can up in this bad boy, man.
Everybody's at home using up all the Wi-Fi. Can't y'all save us some Wi-Fi? Come on now.
For real, man. Y'all need to save us some Wi-Fi to use for the Mad Men of Masculinity, man.
So anyway, y'all, we did this last night. It was a little less buggy, so you can always go back and watch that episode from last night. But we were talking about self-cancellation in men, and I know it's the holidays, and people are like, "Why y'all getting so dark for the holidays?" But this is usually a big time for men to step out because of the being isolated, being lonely, feeling hopeless, not having anybody to reach out to. So we wanted to do this episode and talk about some serious stuff. I mean, it may be dark, it may not be festive, but it's necessary.
Man, I think this time of year, man, I think it's statistically said anyway that this time of year is for man a lot of stuff, man.
Yep.
And this is a great time of year to tackle some tough topics.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of guys that are isolated and alone, Christmas and New Year's tend to be the top times for them to decide to step out. And as we were talking about last night, depression being the number one cause. And for most guys, it's not just depression, but it's the isolation combined with the depression and not having an outlet and feeling hopeless and not getting being able to vent and talk about the things that are on their heart and on their mind. And we grew up in that generation. We grew up in the generation of suck it up and be a man, and pull up your boots, and don't show any weakness, don't show any emotion. But it's basically taking us out, because without some sort of outlet for men to let off some steam and to talk about their problems and talk about their emotions and talk about things on their heart. And then when you come into the holidays like this, what tends to happen is if they're isolated, if they're alone, if they don't have a support group, then they feel even more hopeless. They feel even more isolated, because this is a family thing. So it's really hard not to feel extra alone when you're by yourself during the holidays, because it's very much a family holiday. It's about getting together with family and friends, and if you're not able to do that, it can be pretty heavy on you.
Yeah, man. I think I mean just the whole idea, first and foremost, when we talk about for the PC out there, it's even hard to it's hard to research the topic, it's hard to talk about the topic on social media. You know, just because man, things get tense. So we can't say the S word. We got to say, you know, deleting or self-deleting or
Yeah.
self-canceling and all these other kind of things, man. And it's hard to even address the topic in itself head on, just in public media, man, which kind of goes to the point of it's hard to deal with it.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with it, and I'm not sure where the erroneous idea came from that if somebody does a video about it, or talks about it, that's somehow going to give somebody else the idea. Believe me, most, probably 90% of people at some point in their life have some ideations or have some thoughts that maybe I should just leave. But the ability to talk about it is how we release that stress, how we release that tension, and how we get away from actually acting on those thoughts. Because it it's one thing to have the thoughts, nothing to do it. And being having the opportunity to talk about those things actually relieves the stress, relieves the pressure, and that's what we need to do. I don't know where the idea came from that you need to edit and cancel any discussions about this on social media or on YouTube or anything else, because somebody might get the idea or something. Believe me, they already have the idea. They're not researching it for anything other than maybe some way to cope with it.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think as a culture, especially as men, the statistics say we make up, I saw one statistic saying we make up 49% of the population, but 80% of the self-cancellations in our culture.
Yes.
And I think it's one of those things that, there's something about us men culturally, we're put under a tremendous amount of pressure to have it all together, a tremendous amount of pressure not to talk about things, not to verbalize things, not to reach out and to connect. It's kind of culturally taboo to reach out and connect to another guy, or to sit down and talk to somebody, or to say, "Hey, I'm struggling, man." And it's that in our culture we're not supposed to have bad days, man. We're not supposed to struggle.
Right.
We can't have emotions, and we don't have the freedom to have the ups and the downs of the human experience. It feels like, from a male perspective, and everybody's going through something, man. Everybody is, but for some reason in our Western culture, it's almost like we're forced to just suck it up, buttercup, or man up, or step up, whatever the phrase is, that gets pushed down our throats. I feel like, we're pushing of just having to deal with it, man, just having to pretend like everything is okay, have everything
Yeah.
by having.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I see too is, we there's this push for, ladies want their men to be more expressive, to be more open, to talk about their feelings and things. But a lot of times they don't have the training of how to be a safe space for that either. And a lot of times when guys do attempt to open up, they may do it once, and if it doesn't go well, that's it. So if your man isn't expressing his emotions to you, if he isn't opening up and talking about hard things, if it's something that he's just bottling up, then maybe he doesn't feel like you're a safe space. And I know sometimes we can be, as guys, a little critical and be like, "Well, I tried it once, it didn't work." But it's just something to look at, like, maybe he did try to open up and I didn't respond well because I wasn't used to him actually sharing because he keeps it so locked up. And, the in a lot of ways, the fault is mostly on men's side because they're not used to sharing. So maybe it just comes out wrong, or we dump or whatever. But if your man is attempting to share, do your best to be a safe space for him, and then help him find help. Help him get somewhere, because you don't want to be his therapist. You can't be his therapist. You want to be his number one partner and fan, but you want to make sure he's finding proper support and proper help to make sure he's taking care of these thoughts and he's moving past these thoughts in a healthy way, and it's not just getting bottled up, because that's the real issue with men and why men make up 80% of the self-canceling out here in the West, and I think worldwide as well, is that we don't feel like there is any outlet for us. There's no support for us, and it just feels hopeless. And that's what happens is when they're isolated and feeling hopeless, they feel like, well, there's no other way out than just to say bye bye, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I wanna go into speaking like two guys instead of four guys. I feel like I don't know why it's on my heart, and I think because after we streamed live yesterday and recorded our show, I texted several guys. I texted honestly the same thing to several guys. Bro, check. And I said, how you doing? Scale of 1 to 10. That was some advice from you yesterday. One of the feedbacks in terms of a good question to ask guys. How you doing? Scale of 1 to 10. And and I got some interesting responses from that, man. First of all, I think it was dope just to just inspired to reach out to guys and speak into guys and to connect with guys. And I had, man, everything from a guy just kind of saying nobody cares to to a guy that basically said he didn't have 10 friends. I mean, to another guy who said, I'm doing okay, I'm having maybe some financial issues or whatever. And then of course a bunch of other guys that just appreciated the reach out and that weren't necessarily having a bad day, but at the same time being able to connect, man. And I think, from guy to guy, we have to we got to begin the habit of reaching out and connecting to each other. We got to begin the habit of out of the blue, how you doing, bro checks. Because until we begin to do that as guys, then we won't make it safe for guys to reach out when they do need a hand when they're drowning. So I think that's a habit that we need to begin just as men, period, is reaching out, because man, we can't stand to lose anymore, man. It's been in the news lately, with Twitch, Ellen's producer and DJ, and talk about the 22 veterans a day, and how many of us know a vet, how many of us know people on active duty, and but then how many of us just know other guys, man. And if you don't know other guys, that's a great thing in the new year to shoot for, is to get in circles of other guys, because man, we can't do this alone. And damn it, we got to stop trying to do it alone as guys. We got to get outside that bubble, outside of that box, man. Get uncomfortable, get in guy space, and push each other to go deeper, emotionally. We got to be safe for one another. You can't handle the truth. Other people from other genders may not be able to handle our complete truth, but we should be able to handle our complete truth and be safe for other guys. Kind of on a rant, but man, I'm just passionate, just from the responses last night of just, connecting with guys, man. I was just inspired and just energized by, just reaching out, and how many guys just, were appreciative of that. But we got to make that a habit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest issues that we talked about a little bit before, that it seems like it's been taught to us as men that it's weak to show emotion, that it's weak to have any struggles, and that we got to do it all on our own. But now we need to flip that script and go, if you are struggling, if you are having issues, man up and tell somebody about it. Man up and show that, do the uncomfortable thing and say, hey, and one of the things we talk about is, if you want something, give it. And so if you're struggling, I challenge you, if you're having a hard day, I challenge you to reach out and check in with some other guys, because if nothing else, that puts the focus out on them. So you're not stewing in your head in that little hamster wheel of your mind trying to tell you how awful you are and how much of a failure and everything. We got to get out of that mindset and reach out to other guys. I guarantee you, if you are struggling and you reach out to other guys, somebody else is struggling, and you're going to feel much better about your struggle by sharing it with them and helping them with their struggle, because I guarantee you they were just sitting there stewing in their juices with no feeling of having an outlet or a source to talk about it. So if you reach out and just say, hey, how you doing? From a scale of 1 to 10, let's talk, let's be real. Because when you say, hey, how you doing? Everybody's rote response is just, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm good. But give them, a scale of 1 to 10. Let's be real. Let's talk. Don't let them off the hook, especially if this is somebody you care about. If this is one of your boys, don't let them off the hook. Don't let, when you see them isolating, when they haven't talked to you in a while, when something's going on, but they haven't expressed it, that's when you definitely want to check in. But I am definitely challenging all the guys, especially during the holiday season. If you're struggling, reach out to somebody else. I guarantee you there's other guys out there struggling. If we come together, we can save a whole lot of lives.
Yeah, and here's our reset, man. Masculinity. Okay, my man, my guy. I'm inspired to continue to grow in friendship and in brotherhood. It looks like maybe mine our signals finally acting right for it. And, oh, by the way, if you're watching us live, you can comment. We'll see your comments in the chat, and JBK will make you famous. But this is one of those things that, yeah, especially over the holidays, man, a lot of us are just going through a lot of the same stuff. And like I said, I would not have even known just some of the intake of just some guys that are going through some stuff had I not had I not reached out. And I'm like, why don't I do that more often? I mean, I'm still getting guys just replying today from my text, last night, and we need to make it okay to open up. Maybe that man up is behind the scenes of man up is open up. Yep. But also reach out and connect with some guys. But we got to be able to open up to one another and to make it okay to not be okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the new strength as we move forward, is to be uncomfortable, is to be willing to be uncomfortable as men, and to talk about those things that we normally don't talk about, and to, do it in a safe space. If you're out on the golf course, or if you're out hiking, or, something like that, or if you're in a men's group, those are safe spaces. Maybe you can start the conversation at a bar. I wouldn't highly recommend continuing it at the bar, but any place that you can get that conversation started, then go to a safe place and talk about those things. Because what most of us have experienced is bullying and belittling in middle school and high school and things. And then that is such a scarring, traumatic event that nowadays, as adult men, we tend to think that's what's going to happen. But if you think about it, anytime you've been in a group of men and one man's being vulnerable and sharing his heart, sharing his pain, sharing his traumas, you're looking at the guy like, dude, this dude, he's solid. I really respect that he's sharing that. Of course, when you turn the mirror on yourself, and I know I've done it myself, it's like, ooh, well, I can't do that. But that's the challenge that we're putting out to you guys now, to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be that, make that the new strength of reaching out and talking, and being willing to express that with other guys, because we need guys to heal guys. You can have the support from your family and things like that, but we really need other guys, because they can get it. You can talk about your deepest, darkest stuff with most other guys, especially if they're in the work, and they'll not judge you. They'll understand, and they've probably been through the exact same thing or something very similar. So our challenge to you is to be willing to be uncomfortable and to make that your new strength, so that you not only save your life, but other guys' lives as well.
Yeah, that's the only way we're gonna, man. We most of us way more than 51 out of 100 were raised by a mom primarily. Was raised by a woman. So there's a lot of tools that we don't have that, quite honestly, we need as men to get through this thing called life. and the only way we're gonna survive is by doing it. I'm harkening back to that scene out of 300, man. Whatever comes around that quarter, if we fight this thing together, and same thing out of Gladiator, whatever comes out of those doors, our only chance is to stick together, man, and to work together, and that is absolutely, that's why we're losing eyes in too many different ways, man, and appreciate it there, chap. Love you, brother. There's too many of us going down the drain, man, and we need each other. The only way we're gonna make it is by needing each other, man. I've been there. I'm, you know, a few pounds of pressure on my index finger from not being here having this conversation, man. And I'm so glad that I did not go through that. And I would not have been able to see so many things and to experience so many things. I wouldn't be able to experience, a deep connection with my son, who's now, a soldier and a warrior for this country. And I would not have been able to experience brotherhood like this. I would not have been able to experience, intimate relationship in my life. I mean, there's so many things I would have missed out on had I checked out that night. And so, the way to make sure a guy, or one of the ways to make sure a guy, or to at least make it less likely for a guy to get to that point, is by having other brothers that can be his 2 a.m. guys, somebody covering your back, somebody covering you while you reload your proverbial heart weapon.
Yeah. Well, and some of the tools that we talked about too, I want to reiterate is that if you're struggling, if there's something going on in your life, you got to find somebody to talk to so you can release that pressure, whether it's professional therapist, whether it's a boy, pastor, something, somebody that you can feel comfortable talking to help release that pressure, because that voice that isn't even our voice. It's a voice that was given to us in childhood that tells us that we're only as good as what we succeed at. We're only as good as what we provide. We're only as good as the next goal that we achieve. But those things aren't you. And when we start getting so hyper focused on those outer things, we lose touch with our own purpose, our own heart, our own self identity. And so having somebody else who can see you in those trouble times, because when we're in those times, a lot of times we don't see ourselves in the way we really are. So having somebody else that can mirror how we're doing and who we really are, especially when that voice is turning, because that voice is brutal. Like Kirk was talking about last night, it's not even a two-way conversation. It's a monologue. It's like the evil villain monologue in your head telling you how much you suck and how much of a failure you are, and why you're a burden to everybody else. But that voice is alive. And so having an outlet to talk about that and to say, hey, that voice is taking over, that voice is really getting in my ear today, will help you to release some of that pressure. And having some kind of structure, having some kind of discipline in your life, you have work, you have, some kind of exercise or a gym routine to keep you healthy physically. Because, in doing simple things, like if you're waking up in the morning and you're like, I don't know what to do today, and you're starting to feel a little down, a little depressed, clean your house, organize your kitchen, do something to just take that 1% and make it a little better for that day, because that will get you through that day on to the next day. And if you keep up leveling 1%, at some point you're gonna get to 100%, and you're gonna be on top of the world and the best you can be.
Yeah, and it might sound strange. I would have never thought that one day I would say this. I recommend men learn how to play golf.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
I did not grow up playing golf. Man, it was not something it wasn't until a few years ago that I got out there. But it's something about, having a couple, 2 to 4 hours with one or more, guys shoulder to shoulder, talking, enjoying the outside, getting vitamin D, getting, the ups and downs of a round of golf. I mean, nobody is all that great that they're, ticked off if you're not good. I mean, but it's just a great opportunity to get out and get connection and get some shoulder to shoulder time with a guy or with other men, man. And it sounds so simplistic and it sounds so, whatever, but man, I'm telling you, but either way, get in circles of other guys, get in circles of other guys, a men's group, whether it be at your church or not. We're affiliated. We love, B Men that's here in our area. I mean, there's all kinds of men's groups out there. I mean, just support organizations, whatever it is, just, golf buddies, hunting buddies, fishing buddies, whatever your thing is, whatever you like to do, but get in circles of guys, man, and make it safe to be shoulder to shoulder so that we can talk and we can connect and we can open up.
Yeah, and there's so many great groups out there now. If you're not quite sure you want to dive all into personal development or men's groups, anything like that, there's like Parker Social, In the Loop Singles, Vincent Adventures. There's all these things for single people to come and do things with. And I've seen a lot of times being a part of those or helping support those events, guys coming together, meeting other guys and getting to talk. And it's just a great outlet. Plus, maybe you'll find a nice lady, but just having something that you can get out and do, because once you start getting isolated, I mean, we're guys, sometimes we need a man cave moments. And I know I do a lot. We need to just shut down and process our stuff, but then you got to get out. You got to get out and get around other people. And if it's not golf, then but whatever it is, get out in nature, get you some sunshine, get you around other dudes, get you some fresh air, get out of the house, stop playing video games, put the beer down. Let's go out and you can do those things, but let's, make it a modicum and not, everything you do all day. And getting out and having some kind of conversation with somebody will make your day better because it gets you out of your head. And that little angry little voice that's trying to take you out will be silenced by you getting out and talking to somebody else and doing something else to get your mind off of it. A little exercise, a little fresh air never hurt anybody.
And the great thing is you also get to connect with guys and learn that you're not the only one going through whatever it is you're going through. I mean, we all got stories, most guys got stories of, man, she been tripping, dude, or like, man, not, and it's not even just about venting or griping or putting your business out there in the street, but when you have a close buddy or a circle of guys or somebody else that you can share with, man, there's something about another guy saying, yep, been there, done that, have our own proverbial me too of like, yeah, I know what that's like, where work is, this and that. And we got that grind with work and, we're trying to get ahead, but then, we got struggles, ups and downs with work and family and all these other things. Like I said, man, it takes a man to make a man. And unfortunately, most of us were raised by women. And so the only way we're going to make it out of this thing, these days anyway, is to come together as guys. So, and of course there's the professional resources, therapists. You could dial 988 if you're feeling like, if you're feeling like you want to check out. I mean, there's the 800 number, man, but you can just literally 988 on your phone, man, and you can text it. I mean, I Googled it, man. They got a button right there. You can hit chat and immediately start talking to somebody, man. It's amazing when you begin to open up and just start sharing what's going on in your life. It can take all of the pressure. It's that release valve. It's like when you got a pressure cooker or an Instapot, and before you can even pop that lid, you got to bleed off all the steam on the inside of it. And that's exactly the perfect word picture, man. Before your lid pops open, you got to have a way to blow off that steam, and being able to talk about it is a great way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's 714 is another resource, the National Suicide Hotline, the 1-800 number, then that brand new one, 988, Kirk was talking about. Those are great resources, and those are things that can help you, just like he said, release a bit of pressure. And that's what I in all the research, that seems to be the biggest factor, is that each guy who got to that point didn't feel like they had an outlet, didn't feel like they had a solution, didn't feel like there was any hope. And when you're isolated and don't have any hope, then you feel like, well, why am I still here? But having some small way to release and to vent, and sometimes venting is the best thing you can do. Finding some other dude to just vent to and let him listen and find out, number one, you're not the only one. I guarantee you, no matter what you're going through, another guy is going through it, has gone through it, will go through it. You can support them when they're going through it. I mean, it's a whole I got your back, you got mine sort of thing that we can develop as men in this world to help not only save our lives, but save somebody else's life.
Yeah, they say that women's attempts in terms of statistics are on par with men. However, men are more successful, meaning that men's methods tend to be more violent oriented, where women's methods tend to be more like medication drug oriented. Yep. And so yeah, we all go through some stuff. And from a man perspective, because we are the mad men of masculinity, man, guys, we gotta we got to get to the point of opening up and talking about it, man. I remember when my good buddy Darren, a couple years ago, man, year and a half ago, whenever that was, man, when I saw that post come across my timeline, and then I found out what really happened, man, I was absolutely devastated. One of the most guys that I know in terms of friends, and he had no shortage of people he could have reached out to, man. I was almost ticked off that, like, how come you reach out to me, man? Like, didn't have to be like that, didn't have to go like that, man. But I get it, having been there, self-canceling, whatever you want to call it, it lives at the intersection of hopelessness and isolation. And when your hopelessness meets your isolation, that's when it all begins to make sense. That's when that voice begins to come together, and you begin to do like this. Yeah. This would solve that problem. This would solve that problem. And when you remove either one of those factors, like the fire pyramid or whatever, when you move one of those factors, then it changes the whole equation, man. And when you remove isolation, things can suck. You can be hopeless. Your nuts can be getting kicked in all day long. But if you got, a brother that you can reach out to, or if you got, a round of golf schedule this weekend, and, and you can go talk about some stuff, man, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it's just a matter of knowing that you're not alone. Don't listen to that when that voice starts to drive you crazy, because we all have that voice, and it'll go on a rant and start to beat you down. That's when you need to reach out to somebody, talk to somebody, just let them know. You could even, I wouldn't suggest social media for everything, but even if you're not sure who to talk to, you can even post, you got friends on social media, people that have known you for years. I'm struggling. Somebody will reach out. Somebody will say something. Use whatever tools you got to be able to talk about it, because you got to use your external voice to vent that pressure and to silence that internal voice, and have somebody else mirror back to you that voice is lying to you. You're not a burden. You're not worthless. You're not a failure. You're just going through a hard time that we all go through, and you can get through it. And from every one of the people I've seen who have attempted it and failed and have come back better on the other side, realizing that they do want to be here, that they do have a purpose, and a lot of times through their trauma, through their pain, they found their purpose. I know for me, and I think Kirk said last night for him as well, that's where we found our purpose. That's where we found our passion, is through that pain. So if you can get through that pain, if you can get through that day and come out the other side, you might find a whole new world waiting for you that could be the best version you've ever seen.
And so I'll bring this thing in for landing for me, man. If you're a guy, text some guys. Text 10 guys today, in the next 24 hours. Text them. How you doing? Scale of 1 to 10. And make that a norm. But an action item for a guy, if you're listening to this, literally text 10 guys, random guys out of the blue, bro, check, how you doing? Scale of 1 to 10. And if you need to talk to somebody and you don't have anybody, to your point, man, put on social media, I need to talk. Put on your Facebook or whatever time and just type, I need to talk, post. And I can guarantee you somebody's going to reach out to you, man. So, we can't afford to lose any more guys, man. And you are important, whoever you are. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care how hard it is in terms of your value or your worth. We need you, man. And we can't stand to lose any more of you guys, man. Every one of you is important, and that's why we do this. Even when our Wi-Fi and internet sucks, we continue on, to push through this thing, because we need you guys, man. We need each other, and we want to keep reaching out to you guys. So that's my rant, man.
Yeah, my closing statements would be, whatever you can do it, because if you make a solution to a temporary problem, that's it. You can do anything, and up to changing your name, moving to the other side of the world, changing your career. You can change every aspect of your life. If your life is not working for you and you don't want to be here anymore, change it. You have that right. It's your life. You can do whatever you want to with it. Anything but self-canceling and taking yourself out. There's so much more in this world for you. There's so much you can provide in this world. There's probably more that you provide in this world that you even realize. And by being able to reach out and talk to other people, you'll find out. And if you're starting to struggle, if the holidays are getting you down, send text messages. Be that gift to other guys, and I guarantee you'll receive that tenfold on the other side.
Absolutely.
And with that, we love you. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy New
Christmas.
Year. We'll see you next year or next
Mad
time or
Men
next week. How we do it.
out.
Out.